everybody, it's your girl Nikki. I'm back with another video. If you're new here, welcome. If this is not your first time, welcome back. Before we get started, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. Today's video is going to be about a story time, about the time that American Airlines lost my wheelchair. So without further ado, let's get started. Before I continue, I do want to address one thing. Accessibility is important and having access to information is important. So I want you all to know I am working on closed captioning so that those who may need it can follow along and have access to the information, the content, and the videos that I'm sharing with the world. So just bear with me, it's coming. I understand the significance and the importance of the need. It's coming, I promise. So I first thought about sharing this story when my sister sent me a TikTok video of a girl who had posted about her experience flying and that the airlines had damaged her chair, and she was speaking on why just getting another chair wasn't so easy. And forgive me, I don't know her name or have the TikTok video on hand. I don't really use TikTok, but my heart went out to her when I saw that video, and it still does. I hope she was able to have her chair replaced and with the custom metrics and size that she needed to live her best life. But I related to the story so much because it made me think back to a time in 2016 when American Airlines had lost my wheelchair. So I wanted to share that story with y'all. So for those of you who may not know, I earned a master's from the University of Tennessee back in 2017. I'm originally from New York. I decided to have a quick weekend trip back to New York to visit family and friends and just have a nice little getaway before I had to return back to Knoxville to meet my responsibilities as a graduate student and just do what I needed to do for the summer. So on June 1st, 2016, I was flying from New York to Knoxville, and as someone who studied, who went away to college and likes to travel, I'm constantly traveling on airplanes, on commercial train travel like Amtrak, Megabus, all the things you can think of. I traveled on it and still do, and hope to be able to travel when the COVID-19 pandemic is a little more safe and I recover from my surgery and travel is more of an option for me. Traveling with a disability and with a wheelchair, it brings challenges and struggles every time I travel, anywhere I go. But this particular trip, it turned out to be a nightmare. I set out to travel back to Knoxville, and I had a connecting flight in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I left from New York. I had a connecting flight in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then I was set to arrive in Knoxville. And I'm just gonna explain what my experience is like traveling with a manual wheelchair on air travel. I travel alone most of the time when I'm traveling. So usually how it works is I arrive at the airport, and sometimes they have like the assistants, like the airport assistants that can help you get through security into your gate. And depending on the amount of stuff I have, I usually will either utilize the support of the assistants that are available in the airport or not. I can't really recall, because it's been so many years, if I was, assisted by one of the in-airport support staff. But anyway, so usually what I do is, instead of pre-checking before I arrive at the airport, I try to arrive with enough time. It doesn't always happen, but I try to arrive with enough time so that I can go to the check-in kiosk, inform the the airline support staff that I will be traveling alone, and I will be traveling with my own wheelchair assistive mobility device and stuff like that. And they usually tell me the procedures for tagging the wheelchair, letting me know that it's going to be tagged for gate pickup when I arrive at my destination. And they usually give me a little bag tag, a baggage tag that they would put on a bag. They usually give me a baggage tag that they put on the chair that has my name, my origin and my destination, and any other contact information that might be necessary in order to locate the wheelchair should anything happen. And in the beginning, everything went as planned. There were no mishaps. The chair was tagged. The support staff at American Airlines notified the person at the gate that I was traveling. I had a wheelchair, just to look out for me like they always do. And so I went through security with no problem, boarded the flight, no problem. You know, the staff was very supportive and helpful, and the chair had been tagged. And I had, usually when they tag your chair, they give you a baggage claim receipt. So I had the baggage claim receipt. And usually the procedure is that if you require assistance to board the plane or get off the plane, they usually board you first and then they help you get off the plane last. So it usually takes me a bit longer than an able-bodied person to get off the plane because I have to wait for everybody to exit the plane and for them to bring my chair to the gate before I'm able to get off. So when I arrived in Charlotte, North Carolina, I had waited for everyone to get off the plane, but I want to say that usually I have to wait about 15 minutes. But on this day, I just felt like I was waiting a little longer. And again, I don't have the exact time for how long I waited, but I just felt like I waited a little longer. So I remember the flight attendant coming to me and her telling me, we're still waiting for your chair. As soon as your chair comes, I'll let you know and you'll be able to get off the plane. And so I understood and I waited patiently, and I'm like, okay. I had a connecting flight to Knoxville and I didn't have much of a layover. I want to say it was about 45 minutes to an hour, just enough for me to get off my first plane and make it to the next terminal to get onto my second plane. So the support staff at American Airlines just said, okay, we're going to give you one of our, in airport wheelchairs, and we're just going to escort you to your second flight because it looks like your chair was tagged to your final destination without a stop here in Charlotte. So I was like, okay. But in my head, I specifically remember my chair being tagged to Charlotte. So that sounds a little weird to me, but I understand that mistakes can happen. So I didn't really think much of it. I was just like, okay, my chair is going to Knoxville. That's fine. I just want to make my flight. I just want to get home. I don't want to wait any longer. Eventually, I arrived in Knoxville, Tennessee. When it came time for me to get off the plane, American Airlines support person came to me and said that they can't locate my chair and they don't believe that my chair was put in with the luggage like they had originally thought when we landed in Charlotte before I caught my connecting flight to Knoxville. So they escorted me off the plane and they asked me if I had the baggage claim receipt that they had given me when I checked in. I said yes. They took me to the customer service baggage area, usually where they keep the bags when people check their bags and they don't pick them up or they forget them on the plane. So I went to that office and I explained to the woman that I have my own manual wheelchair that I use to travel. It is my one and only wheelchair that I have, and it is paramount to me being able to get around and live my life. and I told her that the chair was tagged to Charlotte, North Carolina, and that when I arrived in North Carolina, they said it had gotten sent to Knoxville, and the support staff just told me that the chair is not here in Knoxville. And so at this point, I was really upset. I was frantic. I'm like, where is my chair? How can my chair get lost? Like, this is a part of me. This is what I need to get around. Like, it was tagged. I took every precaution. Like, I have the receipt. Like, how could y'all lose a chair? Like, how could y'all not know where the chair is at? So at this point, I was really frustrated. What was supposed to be like a routine trip from New York to Knoxville turned out to be a nightmare. So I waited in the customer support room for a few minutes, not very long, and the woman came back to me and she said that my chair had been placed on the wrong plane or something, and that my chair was still in Charlotte. I can't remember if my chair was still in Charlotte or if my chair was in New York, but my chair had still been somewhere, and she said that they were going to put the wheelchair on the next flight to Knoxville, and that I would be notified when the chair arrived to the airport. But in the meantime, because I needed a wheelchair, I could take an airport wheelchair home, and they would call me when the chair would arrive, and I could come back and pick up the chair. So I filed the formal complaint there, and then, for the missing item, and then I took the chair and I went home. And I want to say that I arrived in Knoxville at about 4 p.m. So it was already late in the afternoon, but I know flights can come in as late as like midnight. So I knew that there were quite a few hours left in the day, and that Knoxville is a college town. So I was like, okay, they could just put the chair to Knoxville and it'd be fine. So when I got home, I unpacked my bags, and about 9 o'clock I called back, and I was like, I still haven't gotten any word about my chair. Like, they told me they were going to put it on a plane to Knoxville, and they would notify me when it was time for me to pick up the chair, but I haven't heard anything. And then the customer service people, they said, that the chair wasn't in Charlotte, the chair wasn't in New York, that it wasn't where they thought it was, and that unfortunately the chair got sent to Miami, and now they have to locate the chair before they can put it on a flight back to Knoxville. So the chair wasn't going to arrive in Knoxville the day that I arrived in Knoxville, because they didn't know where the chair was. And so at this point, I was extremely upset and distraught, because my 24 hours hit different, okay? So I had to go to work the next day. I had stuff that I needed to do, and I just had stuff that I needed to do to live my life. And without my chair, I couldn't do that. And the chair that they had given me was an airport chair. It wasn't fit to me. It wasn't fit to my body. It was like a hospital chair. I'll put a picture here to show you what I'm talking about, but I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all know what I'm talking about. So the chair was more ideal for somebody to push it instead of me pushing myself. So it was really difficult to get around with the chair, and I couldn't use it. It was virtually unusable for me. It did the job of getting me home, but it wasn't gonna do anything for me with regards to me going to work and living my life. So I had been on the phone with American Airlines all day, back to back, constant. And I had posted on Facebook. That is the Facebook post that I've had up here. And I posted on Facebook And I had been in conversation with the people at American Airlines just to, you know, try and figure out where my chair was. My favorite color is purple. My chair was purple. So it was a color that stood out, and I kept telling them that, like, how could y'all lose my chair? Like, this is my chair. And, you know, I think I had been going back and forth for like a couple of days. I missed class and I missed work. I just missed everything. Like, I was stuck in the house. So I'm on the phone with them back and forth, and they kept saying, like, we're really, really trying to find your chair. Like, we apologize. We're really, really trying to locate your chair. But we can't find it. And it was frustrating to me because I find myself to be a really understanding person, but it was just frustrating because in the beginning they were telling me that, you know, the chair got left in New York and then the chair got left in Charlotte. And thinking back on it, I just feel like it was a way to, like, you know, just give me an answer. Just, you know, just pacify me in the moment because they had no idea where the chair was. And I think in hindsight, I just would have appreciated if they told me I lost the chair. Like, you know, because the person told me, oh, the chair is in New York, it's in Charlotte, we'll have it to you by the end of day today. And that just wasn't the case. And I ended up being without a wheelchair for 17 days. I missed work. I missed commitments that I had made, just things that I needed to do. I just couldn't leave my house for 17 days. And they had given me the support staff, you know, they were really helpful. They ended up replacing my chair, paying for it, getting the exact chair and model that I had that they had lost. They gave me a credit to travel. And they even mailed me a loaner chair. But the chair wasn't fit for me. The chair wasn't what I needed. I do remember, like, the chair just didn't work. It kept flipping backwards because Knoxville is like the Queen of Hills, steep as hell. And the chair just kept flipping backwards, and it was like a safety hazard for me, so I couldn't use it. So I couldn't use the airport chair, and I couldn't use the loaner chair they sent. So I was basically forced to wait for the new chair to be built, manufactured, and then shipped to me, and that ended up taking 17 days. And that was really challenging. It's really difficult because a mobility device is not like a piece of luggage. I understand that there's valuables and stuff in luggage, and it sucks when, you know, you fly and your luggage goes missing, but to have a wheelchair to be broken, or even a baby carriage or a car seat or anything that is like vital to like living life and safety and mobility, I just feel like it should be handled with more care. And I hope that, you know, what happened to me and the girl whose chair was damaged, it doesn't happen to anyone else, and that airlines and transportation companies take more care and consideration when they are handling and transporting people's assistive devices, because, you know, it really can really affect somebody's mental health, their way of life, pretty much everything. And unfortunately, the able-bodied world is not built to be considerate of disabled people's strife and trials and tribulations. And so you can really cause damage, or like even cause somebody to lose their job. Like, you know, it really depends. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's story time. If you haven't done so already, I need you to hit the subscribe button, join the butterfly crew, help get your girl to 1,000 subscribers, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I love talking to y'all. Meet you down in the comments. Until next time, peace, love, and butterflies. Bye. Your next stop is your success. Stay clear of negative vibes, please.